Think, one day your child's going to be hurt, and your child is going to try to communicate that hurtness towards you, but will you be ready to understand and listen to that child, or will you act like you're already right and you know everything for him? Nowadays, the reason adults are the way that they are and deal with so much anxiety and depression with our new generation is because parents refuse to listen. Had we just listened to our child back in the day and get them the help that they need, could you say our generation's different? I have credibility to this as someone who has been hurt emotionally as a child and as a young teenager with watching my father die and going across the country. Today we're going to be talking about listening to a child who's been hurt emotionally. So as a child who's been extremely hurt from the death of my father and someone who has been through the depression, seen therapy, and even taken antidepressant pills, I can say had I just had someone there that would listen to me and actually care or pretend to care, I would say my life would be a whole lot different than it is today. Now there's some key principles of communication when it comes to listening to a child. An article that was written in 2009 called Helping Children Resolve Emotional Hurt was written by an author, Naomi Aldert. She has also written a book called Raising Our Children, which also means raising ourselves as adults. She claims that in order to effectively listen to a child, you mustn't under any circumstance act like you don't know what's going on. You have to empower that child and give them the trust and credibility that they can come there to you, no matter what the situation is. The moment you empower the child and you listen to the child, that goes ahead and brings the next steps of healing from within. Which leads me to my next author. My next author is Han. He's a professor in the Asian community and currently in China. He also has written an article called Healing the Child from Within. If you show that child unconditional love, unconditional listening, and unconditional heart, no matter what it is, that child is going to go ahead and be confident within you. That child's going to go ahead and be okay with expressing yourself. And not only that, you're growing, but the child's growing from within. Lastly, there's a technique that a child uses, and is mindfulness, and it helps them grow. That technique, which is the very whole point of the listening communication, is called active listening. According to the website of www.beingtheparent.org, comes an article, Why is it important to listen to your child? The author of this article is a sponsor from a parent in India's largest online community of women and moms. This is especially important because Indian women is treated incredibly different, and especially they're considered the heads of households over there. They're the ones who deal with the children, which can sometimes be 6 to 8. So if anyone knows what you're talking about when it comes to kids, it's going to be them. And so what she said is very simple. She pretty much explains that active listening is what will get through to your child. Not by offering them advice, acting like you know it all, when every situation is different. You could have gone through that same situation when you was a child, but now in today's generation, with all these different circumstances, the new solution isn't going to be your solution. So just by listening and coming in with a grain of salt and not acting like you already know something, that will progress your child further. You should practice active listening and focus on what the child is saying without trying to form any opinion of what you have on the matter, whether it's political or whether it's just pushing a child at a playground. Don't go ahead and already thinking your child's in the right or in the wrong. Go in there open-minded. And also, what a lot of parents refuse to do nowadays is to put yourself in a child's shoes. When you was a child, it was normal for you to eat dirt or eat bugs and stuff like that, but nowadays that's called classic bullying. Your child could come to you and say, I was forced to eat this, while you might say, well, we did that anyways as a child. While that may be normal for you, that's hurtful to them, and that goes ahead and discredits your trust for them coming to talk to you. Also, be present physically and mentally. Your child must know when they're asleep that they're safe with you. They don't have to be there with you, but when they're asleep or at school or even away on a school field trip, they can still feel you there. Lastly, notice your child's body language. Decode nonverbal things. Shaking their head, shrugging shoulders, slouching. All those things are indicators of what your child's currently going through. If they're up, strutting, running around and happy, then you have a good indication that your child's happy. In conclusion, we've discussed many great techniques of what active listening can do for your child and for your family. And hopefully, the next time you have to deal with a frightened or tearful child who's been hurt, take care of that child, listen to that child with an open heart, and try and heal them the best way you can. Not only will it help your child in the future, but it also rewards you as a parent.